Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott.
Present.
Councilmember Carrie Sellers.
Present.
Councilmember Perez.
Present.
Councilmember Montoya.
Present.
City Attorney Eric Bell.
Present.
City Manager Tanya Williams.
Present.
Okay, all present and accounted for. At this time, I'll turn it over to our city attorney for closed session.
We have one item on your closed session tonight. It's a conference with legal counsel. One item of anticipated litigation. The one item has to do with potential litigation with regard to the housing element. Councilmember Karasalis, I believe you've had a conflict with this item before because of your property on Foothill Boulevard. So I'm guessing
Yes, I will be abstaining from
be
that.
recusing
Thank you
tonight.
for the reminder. Appreciate that.
And with that, that's the only item. There's no members of the public in the audience.
Seeing none, at this time, do I hear a motion to close
So moved.
closed session?
Second.
Motion's been made by Carla Perez, seconded by Councilmember Edward Montoya. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any oppositions? Hearing none, closed session is adjourned.
It won't be a pain, and you're not doing it in vain. Are your emergency kits packed? What about your family, your friends? Do they know what to do, how to get in touch, and where to meet? Do you know how to drop, cover, and hold on, covering your head and neck? What if you're outside? Turn on a radio. Reach out for help. And if you're trapped, do not move about. Stay calm. Only shout as a last resort. Once everything and everyone is safe, get prepared. An aftershock could be on its way. So before the earth shakes, the ground moves, and things start to fall, get prepared. Make a plan. Practice what you know, because an earthquake can happen anytime, anywhere. You never know.
Have you heard about Senate Bill 1383? The California Senate passed a law to improve air quality and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. This new California law will require all residents to participate in the food waste recycling program. How does it work? Residential customers will begin placing their bagged food waste into their green barrel along with their green waste. Food waste collection is already part of your service. We just ask that it is sorted differently. What is food waste? Fruits, eggshells, bread, rinds, cooked meat and seafood, bones, vegetables, food soiled paper, coffee grounds, and plate scrapings are all considered food waste. How will it work in your home? You will begin collecting food waste in its own plastic-lined container, separate from your other waste and recycling. We encourage you to use containers you may already have, such as coffee cans, small buckets, bins, or small waste baskets. We recommend a container with a lid to reduce odor. Place your container on your countertop, under your sink, or even in your freezer. Remember to bag all food waste, regardless of how you choose to collect it. We encourage you to reuse bags you may already have, such as bread bags or produce bags. Bags do not need to be compostable or biodegradable. Once full, please secure your plastic bag and place it in your green waste barrel. Please continue to use your green waste barrel as usual. Some items are not acceptable. This includes trash, metal, liquids, batteries, hazardous waste, electronic waste, animal waste, diapers, glass, and paint. Once collected, your food waste will be sorted and processed for composting at one of our material recovery facilities, where it will be turned into mulch, soil amendments, and landscaping material. Your efforts go a long way in closing the loop on sustainability and reducing waste in California. Thank you for doing your part.
Exciting news for Rialto residents. The City of Rialto has partnered with Rattle Tech to bring you the My Rialto app, available now on Android and iPhone. Need to report an issue like a pothole? Just tap Report Issue, choose Potholes, write a brief description, snap a photo, and the app will automatically fill in the location for you. Want to stay updated? Add your contact info or submit it anonymously. It's that easy. Paying city bills just got easier. The My Rialto app links you to all of the City of Rialto's services, right at your fingertips. Looking for information on sandbags, park shelters, or community resources? The City Info section has everything you need, all in one place. And check out our newest feature, QR code scanning. If you see a City of Rialto QR code on city property, like near our beautiful drought-tolerant landscaping, just scan it with your camera or the app to learn more. Your city, your voice, your app. Download the My Rialto app today.
Great Shakeout earthquake drills remind you to drop, cover, and hold on to protect yourself during an earthquake in most situations. Let's practice what to do if a sturdy desk or table is nearby. When you feel shaking, immediately drop down onto your hands and knees. An earthquake is less likely to knock you over in this position, and you're a smaller target for anything falling or flying. Then, cover your head with your arms. Clasp your hands around your neck, bend over to protect your vital organs. If you can move safely and a sturdy desk or table is nearby, keep one arm over your head as you crawl to additional shelter. Finally, hold on by gripping a table leg or other part of your shelter. Continue protecting your head and neck with your other arm. Remain on your knees and bent over, ready to move with your shelter when it shifts during the shaking. Close your eyes and mouth to protect against dust and debris. Remain in this position until the shaking stops. After the shaking is over, wait a moment and check all around and above you before getting up or leaving your shelter. Register at shakeout.org to practice earthquake safety with millions of people worldwide and to see videos showing what to do in a variety of situations.
Scott McAfee of Don's Bikes, and we are rooted in Rialto. The store's opened on April 1st, 1959, so 66 years ago, a long time, which is pretty wild. It was a little hole-in-the-wall store up the street at that point, and my dad pretty much ran it all by himself. And I'd say, you know, as a kid, I grew up in the business, so I would do a lot of the purchasing for him. I'd work on bikes, and I think at that point I got a rough idea of like how to run a small business. 5 days after my 18th birthday, my father passed away. He was actually riding his bicycle home. He had a heart attack and passed away. So I became a small business owner at 18. It was not what I planned on doing for a living. I was actually in college at the time and was getting my degree in psychology. I wanted to be a counselor, ended up getting my master's in counseling. And but we decided to keep the business because it was generating an income, was getting me through school. So we thought, okay, let's keep this thing. And we ended up moving down here at this current location in the early 80s. We just ran out of room. So we made the big leap and kind of tripled our size. And I remember it was pretty scary at that point, like, wow, are we gonna be able to afford this rent? You know, will the business accommodate that? And sure enough, it did. And we continued to grow. I started hiring people to run the business, to help run it. We did several expansions at this location in Rialto. And then in 2012, we opened up our Redlands store, which is like 3 times the size of this place. And that took off like a rocket from day one. And here we are like 66 years later. It's one of those things, if my dad could see us now, he'd be blown away. Not only as far as the things we do, but just the depth and the difference of products that we offer now. Electric bikes are incredibly popular. We're actually selling electric motorcycles now, something I never thought I would be selling. We sell a lot of high-end carbon bikes that have electronic shifting. My bike has electronic shifting on it. We have entry-level bikes. I mean, if you want something for like 13 grand, we've got those. But if you're wanting more like an inexpensive bike just to commute back and forth to work, we do sell used bikes as well. So it's a variety, and there's a lot of different categories of riders. That's, I think, the thing that keeps me interested and motivated in this business. You just never know who or what you're going to work with next. It's a very, very diverse group of people, but what they all share in common, I think, is a love of cycling. And I see the expression on people's faces when if they've been off a bike for a while, when they come back from a little test ride, they've always got that smile on their face, like, wow, it's like being a kid again. So it's really cool. Our address is 384 South Riverside Avenue in Rialto. We're open from 10 till 6 Monday through Saturday, 11 to 4 on Sundays. Or you can go online to donsbikeshop.com. We do a lot of repair work. This place is crazy. On a weekend, we do a ton of repairs. So we have quite a few mechanics. I have 22 employees total. A lot of them are dedicated mechanics. This is what they do all day long. They fix other people's bikes. And we work on all kinds of bikes, not just the ones we sell, but pretty much bikes from all over the place. The cool thing about this business is it is about health, fitness, psychological health. You know, as I know, just getting a master's in counseling psychology, anything you can do to reduce stress is just a win-win. And so we are tied in with fitness, with health, with recreation, with community, with, you know, giving people groups to ride with. We do events with the city and we partner with them on a lot of different things. We do have the ride out for the teens. Rialto PD gives us an escort for that. We also had some really cool celebrities come out. These are people from the biking world from like the 80s, or kind of the stars, if you will, of the BMX world that came out to be part of our event. So, you know, we kind of been part of this community for a very long time. And, you know, when people have asked, well, why do I like to give back to my community? And it's because my community has given so much to me. And probably one of the favorite things I like about doing this is you get to really know people in this business. Kind of like a barber or hairstylist where you talk to people and you get to know their stories. I mean, I had an exchange with a gentleman just this morning who shared some sorrow and some loss from a family member who passed away, but those are the kind of relationships we develop with people, and we've done so over literally decades. And it's just kind of cool because most businesses, they don't get to get that personal.
When the earth shakes, the ground moves, and things start to fall, you'll ask yourself, how prepared or unprepared are you? Have you removed objects from over the bed and over your head? Anchored your possessions securely to the wall. It won't be a pain, and you're not doing it in vain. Are your emergency kits packed? What about your family, your friends? Do they know what to do, how to get in touch, and where to meet? Do you know how to drop, cover, and hold on, covering your head and neck? What if you're outside? Or in a car? After the shaking stops, look around. Figure out what to do. Stay away from damaged areas. Turn on a radio. Reach out for help. And if you're trapped, do not move about. Stay calm. Only shout as a last resort. Once everything and everyone is safe, get prepared. An aftershock could be on its way. So before the earth shakes, the ground moves, and things start to fall, get prepared. Make a plan. Practice what you know, because an earthquake can happen anytime, anywhere. You never know.
residentes de Rialto, tenemos noticias muy buenas justo a tiempo para la temporada de natación. Clases de natación en la piscina Tom Sawyer están ahora disponibles a un costo reducido gracias a una subvención de la Fundación LA84. A través de nuestro programa de becas acuáticas, la mayor parte del costo está cubierto, por lo que es más fácil de nunca para aprender a nadar. Los aplicantes deben tener entre 5 y 17 años para calificar. Las sesiones duran 2 semanas. Para inscribirse, visite la piscina Tom Sawyer y rellene la aplicación de becas. Pero no esperes, el espacio es limitado y las clases se llenan muy rápido. Consulta las fechas de inscripción para ver cuándo puedes inscribirte en la próxima sesión. La piscina Tom Sawyer ya está extendiendo el horario de las clases de natación, ofreciendo más clases de natación y la celebración de clases de 4 días a la semana, de lunes a jueves. Estamos aquí para ayudarle a chapotear con seguridad.
The earthquakes you see in movies are one thing, but real life is a completely different animal. Just because you can't predict an earthquake doesn't mean that you can't prepare for one. In the event of a real earthquake, you should drop, cover, and hold on. Visit ready.gov/earthquake and practice what to do to keep you and your family safe in the event of a real earthquake. And you'll be seen as a hero by your family and your loved ones.
When the earth shakes, the ground moves, and things start to fall, you'll ask yourself, how prepared or unprepared are you? Have you removed
The City of Rialto's upgraded permitting center is a seamless, user-friendly experience for permit applications, business license requests, and secure online payments. Designed for efficiency, transparency, and convenience, this platform is built to service residents, contractors, and city staff alike. Everything you need all in one place. Check out this introduction video to the new online permit center coming June 2nd.
Welcome to Civic Access, the online customer access portal for the City of Rialto. This introduction will navigate you through the various online services and functions offered by the City of Rialto. As a guest visiting the site, you will be able to pay invoices, search for records, and view scheduled inspections. If you are a registered user, you will have access to see more information about your applications and records, and even apply for certain development applications. To log in, click Login or Register in the top right corner of the page, or with the tile in the center of the screen. If you have not registered for Civic Access, please create an account prior to logging in. After successfully logging in, you will see additional tabs and functionality. The first tab is the Home page. This will bring you back to the main page again from wherever you are in the website. The next tab is the Apply tab. This is where you can apply for available online permit, plan, and business license applications. After clicking Apply, you will be automatically redirected to the city's decision engine, which is a guided application to help you find the correct permit, plan, or business license application to apply for. The next tab is the Dashboard. In the dashboard, you will be able to see the progress of your permit and plan applications that you've submitted to the city. You will also be able to view all of your inspections and their associated statuses. Your dashboard will also show your open invoices. You can make payments by adding them to your cart and making a payment with a credit card. If you have business licenses with the city, they will be listed at the bottom of the dashboard screen. My Work is another way to see all of your associated records in a list view. It is sectioned out into permits or plans, inspections, and invoices. If you applied for a permit or plan at City Hall, you should see the record in this screen. If you have difficulty finding a particular record, you are able to filter and sort your records. There is even an option to export your records into a Microsoft Excel file. Providing the correct email address and contact information on your application is essential to being able to see your records in the online portal. Please contact the city if you are not seeing your applications in the online portal. If you want to see scheduled inspections, click on the Today's Inspections tab. If you would like to see upcoming scheduled inspections or past scheduled inspections, simply change your desired date. The Search Records tab allows you to search and view information available for permit, plan, licenses, and inspections records. You can search with record numbers, keywords, or partial descriptions. Click on the record number to see more details of the record. If you cannot locate the record you are looking for, please contact the city. The last tab is the Help tab, which is where you most likely found this video. Along with this introduction video, there will be other instruction videos and help guides available to you. If you need additional assistance, please contact the city. Now that we have gone over all of the menu options, let's quickly go over the 6 tiles that you see on the home page. These offer you another way to quickly navigate the most frequently visited menu areas of Civic Access. This has been your introduction to Civic Access, the one-stop shop for development and permit application needs. If you need any additional assistance or information with Civic Access, please contact the city. Thanks for watching.
COVID-19 emergency has hit working families hardest. That's why all across the country, community action agencies are open and here to ensure the well-being of every American family. For over 50 years, we've been delivering hope and opportunity. Now more than ever, working families need life-changing services, solutions, and stability. Contact your local community action agency today.
When the earth shakes, the ground moves, and things start to fall, you'll ask yourself, how prepared or unprepared are you? Have you removed objects from over the bed and over your head? Anchored your possessions securely to the wall. It won't be a pain, and you're not doing it in vain. Are your emergency kits packed? What about your family, your friends? Do they know what to do, how to get in touch, and where to meet? Do you know how to drop, cover, and hold on, covering your head and neck? What if you're outside? Or in a car? After the shaking stops, look around. Figure out what to do. Stay away from damaged areas. Turn on a radio. Reach out for help. And if you're trapped, do not move about. Stay calm. Only shout as a last resort. Once everything and everyone is safe, get prepared. An aftershock could be on its way. So before the earth shakes, the ground moves, and things start to fall, get prepared. Make a plan. Practice what you know, because an earthquake can happen anytime, anywhere. You never know.
Hey guys, it's Maria, the Healthy Rialto Coordinator, and today we are back with the vendor shoutouts, and we are shouting out Fabi's Bees. Today we are here with
Fabiola Delgado.
So today's interview is going to be in Spanish, but don't worry, for all of our non-Spanish speakers, we will be adding subtitles. So without further ado, let's begin. ¿Cómo está?
Muy bien, gracias.
Okay, so la primera pregunta sería, ¿qué nos puede contar de su negocio?
Que lo empezamos poco más de 12 años. Nada más mi esposo y yo hemos trabajado en las abejas, con las abejas. Y hasta ahorita hemos seguido trabajando y pensamos seguir trabajando hasta que podamos.
Okay, ¿qué tipo de miel vende aquí?
Vendemos miel de flores de alfalfa, de flores silvestres y de flores de naranjo. Toda la miel es 100% pura, no tiene sabores, no tiene colores agregados. Si digo de flores de naranjo, es porque ponemos las abejas en los cultivos de naranjos, de ahí agarran el néctar para hacer la miel. Lo mismo de flores silvestres, están las abejas a lo largo del río y en las montañas, que es todo lo que nace silvestre, es de flores silvestres. La de flores de alfalfa igualmente, son cultivos enormes, cada cultivo de 60-80 acres, pura alfalfa. Y es de donde ellas agarran el néctar para hacer la miel. Por eso puedo diferenciar qué clase de miel es cada una. Wow. Sí, y nosotros trabajamos directamente con las abejas para hacer todo el proceso desde extractar la miel, quitar la miel de las colmenas, extractarla y envasar la miel.
Oh, wow. Aquí también miro en la mesa que tiene diferentes cosas,
diferentes
productos que sean aparte de la miel. ¿Qué ofrece también?
Honeycomb, el polen, la cera y la crema y los chapsticks que están hechos a base de la cera de nuestras abejas.
Todo de aquí es de las abejas con las que ustedes trabajan.
Sí, es de las abejas con las que trabajamos nosotros.
¿Tiene productos que se venden más o algo que la gente busca?
A veces se vende la de flores de naranjo, otras veces otra, pero siempre, unas veces es una, otras veces es otra miel. Pero siempre la miel la buscan mucho.
¿Depende de la temporada?
Sí, también depende mucho de la temporada. En temporada de fríos es cuando más se consume.
Para la gripa y todo eso, ¿verdad?
La gripa, la tos, los resfriados, consumen mucha miel.
Qué bueno. Ok, ¿tiene algo interesante que nos puede contar del negocio?
¿Qué le podría contar? Que yo fui la de la idea. Siempre le estuve insistiendo a mi esposo en que compráramos abejas y él no quería, decía que hasta que hubiera un buen año o algo así. Yo nunca vamos a saber si va a ser un bueno o malo año, necesitamos tratar. Y yo tenía algo de dinero ahorrado y con eso fue con lo que empezamos. Dije, no, vamos a tratar, si se pierde, bueno, se perdió, pero vamos a tratar de hacer el negocio. Y de ese modo nos hicimos del negocio, porque yo estaba insistiendo. Y todo a esto porque tengo un hermano que es 4 años mayor que yo y él ya tiene probablemente más de 40 años haciendo esto. Entonces, y luego otro hermano ya tenía como 12 o 15 años también trabajando con abejas. Luego seguimos nosotros y yo le insistí a él, vamos haciendo abejas y vamos comprando abejas y tratando, vamos a tratar. Y después de nosotros, hace como 3 o 4 años empezó otro hermano también con abejas.
Sí.
Es de que va yendo la familia.
La familia, sí, ¿verdad? ¿Y cómo pueden encontrarlos a ustedes, a las personas que estén interesadas en comprar fuera de aquí del mercado?
En Instagram estamos en Rancho Cucamonga, en Terravista. Ahí también vendemos y en las montañas, en Crestline, Twin Peaks y Running Springs. Estamos en esas 3 marquetas también.
Ok, ¿y qué es su Instagram?
Fabi's Bees.
Fabi's Bees. ¿Y tiene como un tipo de suscripción o diferentes descuentos para la gente que viene y compra más de un frasco de miel?
Sí, cuando es más poquita el monto de la miel o la cantidad de miel es un poco más cara, pero conforme va creciendo el volumen de miel es menos. Por ejemplo, una libra cuesta $14. 3 libras en 30 cuando deberían de ser $42. Entonces, un galón trae 12 libras y son nada más $95, cuando 12 libras deberían de ser como 160 o más, no estoy segura, pero es bastante caro por libra. Pero ya en un galón es mucho más barato ahora. Una cubeta trae 5 galones. Si fueran por galón serían casi los $500, pero son solamente 280 por una cubeta. Entonces, entre más volumen compren de miel, es más barata.
Qué bueno. Pues muchas gracias por su tiempo. Aquí estuvimos con Fabi's Bees, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
At this time, the City Council, City of Rialto, the acting successor agency to the redevelopment agency, the Rialto Utilities Authority, the Rialto Housing Authority is now in order. Will I have the clerk call the roll call?
Mayor Bach,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott,
Present.
Councilmember Caracellis,
Present.
Councilmember Perez,
Present.
Councilmember Montoya,
Present.
City Treasurer Eric Carrillo,
Present.
City Attorney Eric Vell,
Present.
City Manager Tanya Williams.
Present.
Thank you. All present and accounted for. So at this time, we'll stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance that will be led by Councilmember Edward Montoya.
Everybody place your hand over your heart. Begin.
At this time, we'll hear from Pastor Javier Lopez from the Rialto Calvary Chapel.
Lord, we thank you in these moments, Lord, that you've given us this time, this space and time, dear God, to where we can gather and discuss, dear God, and resolutions that these council members are going to receive and must make decisions, Lord. I pray that through your Spirit, it would be you that leads them, Lord, into making the right decisions as they look at amendments, Lord, proposals for housing, buildings, Lord, senior communities, Lord, even water management and the things that must be decided for the city of Rialto, Lord. I pray that they would never lose sight, dear God, that the responsibilities that they have, the positions they hold have been given to them by you. And in such, Lord, that we treat them with respect, Lord, and make decisions that are fair and right before you. And so I pray, Lord, for them this night. We pray that you would be with us. Lord, help us to make these decisions, Lord, as they represent so many here within the city of Rialto. And so we ask and pray in your name, Lord Jesus. And we all said, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to call on the city attorney to report on closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. We had one item on closed session tonight. It was a presentation by the city attorney with regard to one item of potential litigation. Councilmember Carrizales was not present. Councilmember, would you like to state your recusal from the closed session?
Yes, I did recuse myself from the closed session. Thank you.
That's the only thing to report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, then, we'll move on to the presentations and proclamation. We have a letter of appreciation to the Rialto Police Department by Dr. Sean Moore from the city. He's a city manager for the city of Yucaipa and a longtime resident of the city of Rialto as well.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, staff. members of the audience, I'm here tonight on behalf of the City of Yucaipa to present this recognition and appreciation for the Rialto Police Department Traffic Division for coming out to the City of Yucaipa and helping and doing some enforcement, traffic enforcement. In the past few months, we've had some recent tragedies, and Rialto helped us out in a collaborative effort, and the council and the mayor wanted to express our deepest gratitudes to the chief, the Rialto police officers, the mayor, council, staff for coming out and helping us. We were able to cite over 87 citations with the help of the Rialto Police Department, as well as arrest one reckless driver that was exceeding his speeds up to 116 miles an hour on Oak Glen Road. So again, I want to thank you, the Rialto Police Department, Traffic Division, Chief Kling, everybody, and staff, and the Mayor and Council, and I have this recognition to hand out if that's, I don't know who I hand it to, but.
If we can possibly either have, is Mark in the back or C.J. Nelson, Captain C.J. Nelson?
On behalf of the City Council and the Mayor of the City of Yucaipa, thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moore, for recognizing the Rialto Police Department. I think we take great pride not only in reference to the Rialto Police Association, but the fire department too as well, and always reaching out to our neighbors and providing whatever assistance we can when the time and the need calls for it. Thank you. With that, I'd like to move into oral communications. Is there anyone that has signed up to give oral communications?
Yeah, I think we have two. I think it's two. Joe Baca Jr. signed up to do oral communication in Pedro Martinez, so.
If you don't mind, we were going to do the tab 4. Is it in reference to the presentation?
It is, but I'll also present an update. That way you guys can move on with your meeting. So Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Council, distinguished guests, and community at large. I just want to do a couple things today. One, just give an update on some of the partnerships and things we've done with the City of Rialto. One of the things we've done in the unincorporated area, which is not the City of Rialto, but many of your residents frequent, is we just resurfaced the Cactus and Easton streets, and we just added 3 additional street lights on the Easton. This was about a $900,000 project. Those street lights are just waiting to be activated by the Edison Company, which is many of our residents here in Rialto frequent. And I thought that was important to highlight just so you know about those investments. We know that Birdsall Park was a $1.6 million investment, which is under construction. We're excited about the investment, seeing those improvements at Birdsall Park. And the 2 other investments which the county has made, which we're excited about, is the $203,000 at the Carl Johnson Center, which is, very personal for me as a youth growing there and have grandchildren, and my daughters, play at that park. So it's great to see those improvements. I want to thank the city for those investments. And one of the things that's really changed is, the trends in athletics. And we've invested $120,000 in Ferguson Park for renovating and converting to pickleball courts, which has become very, very popular in our community. And also very, very proud of the investment we made in the real-time crime lab. We know that's under construction. We look forward to that coming really, really soon. But today, I want to talk about the investment that we're making on tab item 4. I know that the board is going to take it up. So I just want to thank the Thompsons who are here. So just in conversations, one of the things that Thompsons brought to our attention was the concerns about lighting on the Cactus Trail. And one of the things that's very important about our office is many of our projects are very community driven. So we get the community that shares these things with us. But I also want to thank Mayor Baca for his leadership in making sure that we move this thing forward. So what we did is we had conversations with the City of Rialto. We're looking at potentially giving dollars tonight, if it's the will of the council, to add solar lights along the Cactus Trail. It's not the entire Cactus Trail. What we're looking at doing is paying for lights, which would be on the Cactus Trail from Baseline all the way to Etowanda, which is about an $859,000 check, which we'd like to present to the city of Rialto to make sure that those get done. It will enhance safety, it will enhance the experience for those that like to walk at night, especially with daylight saving time. It gets a lot darker here earlier in the community. But this is an investment we're making for the community, and it's really an opportunity to improve. And I know one of the concerns that was brought up was the Cactus Basin. Now, the Cactus Basin is eventually going to be done. It's projected to begin construction in 2028, but that's not for the area that's pretty much from south of Etowanda all the way north of Rialto Avenue, but that would impact these solar lights. So I know that was a concern that was brought up. The solar lights would just be from the Etowanda to Baseline. And I just wanted to share that news with the council. I want to thank the Thompsons for bringing that item forward, and we're just so glad that people in the community can be very vocal about that. So on behalf of the County Board of Supervisors, we have a check for $859,000 to present to the Rialto City Council. I hope that the action that succeeds us later will accept this check, but we'd like to come up to the...
Okay, if I can have all the council members go up and...
We can come up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can come up there. You don't have to move, just stand.
We put our chairs back and you and I right here. Ed, we'll get him in the middle of us.
Supervisor, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hey, son, how you doing?
Good to see you. I know. Yeah, squeeze on up.
Do we need our financial director to take the money and deposit it?
Congratulations, Rialto.
Thank you very much. Sure, Mr. Supervisor. Well, thank you very much, Supervisor Joe Baca Jr., for that generous donation to the city of Rialto, and also, caring about the quality of life for many of the individuals in our city. This particular project came up, and I'd like to recognize both of the individuals because it was their idea, and a lot of people don't know that when they talk to you in the community, a lot of us do listen to individuals. And I'd like to recognize Kathy and Terry Thompson out here. They're the ones that came up with the idea of doing the lights because they walk that trail all the time. Could you please stand up and give them a round of applause? Thank you very much for the idea. So members from the council, do listen to our community in terms of some of the needs. Sometimes it just doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while to get some of these projects to be done. But again, we want to thank you, Supervisor Joe Baca Jr., for your generous donation, not only here, but in some of the other projects as well. Thank you.
The next speaker we have is Pedro Molina.
All right, good evening, council members and mayor, city staff, and the audience and the community. My name is Pedro Molina. I'm here tonight, not with a petition, not with a complaint, not with a check or presentation or anything like that. I'm just a guy who believes still Rialto could operate with fairness and consistency. First, I want to acknowledge the city's clerk office. Every time I submit a public records, you respond. You follow the law. You treat me like rules apply equally to everyone. That really matters, and I appreciate that. Thank you. But not every department is meeting the standards. With over 28 days, isn't it 10 days minimum in California? I haven't received the records request. Today I was in court at the harassment case that I have filed with Code Enforcement Timothy Sun. When a resident steps forward to report misconduct by a city employee, the process should be transparent, timely, and supported by complete records. Yet documents I requested months ago, records I needed to present in my case, were still missing. Not because I failed to follow up, not because I didn't, they don't exist, because someone somewhere chose to delay. The delay didn't just inconvenience me, it weakened my ability to pursue a legitimate complaint. And when the city delays records in cases filed by a resident against one of its own employees, it raises serious questions about fairness and accountability. At the time, the city is moving aggressively towards a receivership on a property across the street. This is one of the most extreme enforcement tools available. While the neighbor property remains in worse conditions, burnt and always has smoke coming out. That inconsistency creates the appearance of selective enforcement, retaliation, and systemic injustice. Whether intentional or not, the impact is the same. Trust erodes. And there's something else I need to say, respectfully and honestly. I hope truly none of this is happening because how I look or because I speak with the accent. I hope the value of my property and the way my case is handled isn't being judged differently because who I am. I work hard. I follow the process, and I show up. And I deserve the same fairness, the same transparency, and the same respect that every resident in the city deserves. All I'm asking is for equal treatment, nothing more and nothing less. So my request is simple. Treat every public records request as urgent, because for a person waiting on that information, especially pursuing a complaint against a city employee, is urgent. And when the city's actions have power that affects someone's rights, reputation, or property, transparency is not an option, it's required. I'm not only here for an applause, I'm here because I want Rialto to work the way it's supposed to work for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments, Pedro. I'm sure that our city wants to work, and not only in terms of transparency, but to make sure that every individual is treated equally and fairly as well. So thank you. With that, then, are there any other?
No, everything else is for the tabs that we have.
That's it?
Everything else that we have is for the tab items that we have.
Okay, thank you. The next item is the consent item. Any item may be removed by anyone or member of the City Council if they wish to. Is there any members from the audience that would like to pull any item from the consent items? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the council members in terms of approval of the consent calendar?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Councilwoman Carla Perez, seconded by Councilmember Andy Calaceres. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none. We'll move into tab 1.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the City Council. This evening, I am requesting that the City Council conduct a public hearing for the placement of liens for delinquent refuse collection accounts for the third quarter of 2025. On January 27, 2026, the City Council scheduled the public hearing for this evening, February 24th, to review and consider the placement of liens related to delinquent refuse. Notices were mailed to the owners of the 58 residential and 14 commercial properties shown in Attachment 1 on January the 29th of 2026. At this time, I would request that the City Council conduct the public hearing, take public testimony, and consider placement of liens against the delinquent properties identified in Exhibit A of the resolution. and adopt resolution number 8471, authorizing the filing of liens against the properties for delinquent refuse accounts with the San Bernardino County Auditor Controller Recorder's Office. This concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Are there any questions or members from the audience that would like to address the public hearing? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion's been made by Council Member Carla Perez and seconded by Council Member Andy Caraceres. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any oppositions? Hearing none. At this point, then we'll move it on for discussion for members of the council. Are there any?
Move approval of Resolution 8471.
Motion's been made by Mayor Pro Tem Ed Scott to move Resolution 8471, seconded by Edward Montoya. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to tab 2.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening, the presentation will be from Cindy Hernandez with AGI, the city CDBG consultant.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, staff, and community. My name is Cindy Hernandez with Avant-Garde, the city's housing consultant partner. Today, we will be presenting the proposed substantial amendment number 1 to the city's fiscal year 24-25 annual action plan. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development requires that the city submit an annual action plan. The annual action plan outlines the city's use of its Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, and Home Investments Partnerships Program, home funds, each year. The one-year action plan discusses the specific activities planned for the upcoming fiscal year and outlines all of the resources available. The one-year action plan for program year 24-25 provides recommendations for funding by the Rialto CDBG Ad Hoc Committee, and the recommendations for CDBG are separated into 3 different categories: administration, public services, and capital improvement projects. In order to fund activities, the proposed activity must align with and address one of the goals from the 5-year consolidated plan. The city held a public meeting in front of the Ad Hoc Committee on Thursday, March 7th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. For fiscal year 24-25, the Ad Hoc Committee reviewed a total of 11 applications, comprised of 6 public services agencies, 4 non-public services projects, and 1 fair housing and landlord-tenant service program. Each agency was given an opportunity to present its program and make a formal request for CDBG funding. The 2024-2025 CDBG Annual Action Plan was approved by City Council during the August 13, 2024 public hearing. This slide represents all approved CDBG activities for fiscal year 24-25 and their respective allocation. The City of Rialto did receive during fiscal year 24-25 an allocation of $1,151,844. In accordance with HUD regulation and the city's adopted citizen participation plan, when a substantial change is proposed to the city's annual action plan or the consolidated plan, the city requires that the public be notified and a public hearing be held to allow the public an opportunity to comment on the proposed substantial changes, such as adding an activity, canceling an activity, redirecting funds, receiving additional funding. The city made the proposed substantial amendment available for public review and comment period beginning on Wednesday, February 11th, and will conclude on Friday, March 13th. Today, we present to you the proposed substantial amendment number 1 to the fiscal year 24-25 annual action plan. The approved action plan allocated a total of $113,000 for the rehabilitation of Carl Johnson Center, which includes repainting the building, resurfacing the floors, and bringing equipment into compliance. Rehabilitation efforts have progressed significantly as the repainting of the building and resurfacing of the floors have been completed. During construction, staff identified challenges with the existing bleachers and winches that require a change order and additional funding in order to address. The Building 500 rehabilitation project was allocated $100,000 for design phase to rehabilitate the facility and achieve ADA compliance. As the design advanced, it was determined that securing sufficient funding to complete the full rehabilitation would require several years. To date, no funds have been drawn down for this activity. Staff has determined that reprogramming the $100,000 from Building 500 rehabilitation project to Carl Johnson project would fund the full scope of the rehabilitation work needed to complete the entire project. The Building 500 rehabilitation project may be brought back at an ad hoc committee and City Council for consideration at a later date. Staff recommends that the City Council open the public hearing and solicit comments from interested citizens, adopt a resolution approving the substantial amendment number 1 to the fiscal year 24-25 annual action plan, authorize the city manager or their designee to submit the substantial amendment of the annual action plan to HUD, and authorize the city manager or their designee to take all actions necessary to implement the programs identified in the annual action plan. And lastly, authorizing that the city manager or their designee make all conforming modifications, edits to execute all implementing documents required by HUD in a form approved by the city attorney. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Are there any members from the public that would like to address this item? This is a public hearing right now for any individual that would like to address it. Hearing none. A motion's been made to close the public hearing by Carla Perez, council member, and seconded by council member Andy Caraceres. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none. Now we'll open it for discussion from council members. I'd just like to state that we do need to repair the Carl Johnson Center. I go there quite a lot to watch my granddaughters play either volleyball or basketball in the gym itself, and it does need upkeeping too as well. And I think I've mentioned it to our recreational director in terms of the ceiling that needs to be done and things that can be falling on a lot of the kids that are participating in that area. And if we don't, we're liable to get sued if we don't take care of the action that needs to be done. And it's good that we're investing some money to make sure that we have the standards that are important for a lot of our kids to participate there. So I just wanted to make that comment, and I actually support the recommendation. But do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Carla Perez, seconded by Edwin Montoya. Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'll be recusing myself from tab 3 and will not be returning to the dais. So I wanted to just go ahead and do my report, if you're okay with that.
We will allow Councilmember Andy Caraceres to give his report. So if there's no objection.
Thank you, Mayor. Real quick, just attended the award ceremony for the Rialto Police Department with my son Andrew and the rest of the council. It's such a great event to be able to recognize all of our heroes that put on that uniform every day and protect and serve this community. I want to thank our chief for making sure that we're always there, recognizing the hard work of the men and women of the Rialto Police Department, and just we had a really good MC. I think Mr. Lamont probably made it a little bit more entertaining, but it was great to see everyone there, and congratulations to all the award recipients. And lastly, I just want to say that we should. I'm keeping in our prayers all the things that are going on in Guadalajara, Jalisco, and just. Hopefully things settle down over there, and I have a lot of family over there. I know a lot of our residents have family in those areas, and things are slowly taming down, but I want to hope that we keep them in our prayers so things can get better. And lastly, speaking of Guadalajara, I have some family members that came from Guadalajara. I just want to welcome them to the United States and welcome them specifically to Rialto, California. Lorenita and mi tía Lorena, thank you and welcome to the city of Rialto.
Thank you very much for the consul's report. With that, then we'll continue with tab 3.
Thank you, Mayor. The report this evening will be given by Senior Planner Sandra Robles, followed by a presentation from the city's Housing Element Update Consultant.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council members. My name is Sandra Robles, Senior Planner with the Community Development Department. Tab 3 of the agenda includes the Housing Element Update, in which staff is requesting action on Environmental Assessment Review 250020, General Plan Amendment 250001, Zoning Code Amendment 250002, Specific Plan Amendment 250001, and Specific Plan Amendment 250002. This first slide provides a brief overview of the housing element's progress to date. City staff and the city's consultant began work on the housing element update in 2021. The Rialto City Council adopted the housing element update on March 2022 and approved the rezone program in the form of an overlay in August 2023. Subsequently, the California Department of Housing and Community Development determined that the housing element and the overlay were out of compliance with the state housing law. Following 2 additional submittals, city staff received a letter from HCD dated December 2nd, 2025, confirming that the housing element meets the statutory requirements of the state housing law. Accordingly, staff is before the City Council this evening to request adoption of the resolution approving the housing element update and to introduce the first reading of the ordinances associated with the rezone program. In the next portion of this presentation, Brian De La Torre of Kimley Horn will provide a comprehensive overview of the housing element and present additional details.
Good evening. My name is Brian De La Torre with Kimley Horn, the city's housing element consultant. As Sandra mentioned, this effort began in 2021 after a series of different submittals and back and forth with HCD. We received conditional approval back in December of 2025, and that's the item that we're considering now. So the housing element, it's one of the elements in the general plan. It's the only one that needs to be updated regularly and is the only one that needs to be reviewed by a state department, which is the Housing and Community Development Department. In order to be considered certified, HCD, the Housing and Community Development Department, must review for statutory compliance and say that it's certified. In previous cycles, cities can, in a way, self-certify, which is no longer allowed. What the housing element does is identifies housing needs in City of Rialto and breaks down that housing need by income categories. As we can see on the right, this is our allocation of unit breakdown for the 6th cycle. The 6th cycle covers the years from 2021 through 2029. On the far right, you can see RENA, that's a Regional Housing Needs Assessment allocation. So that's the total amount of units that the city must plan for. This is not total amount of units that the city needs to build or require or anything like that. It's just a requirement that the city must demonstrate that there's sufficient capacity. So as you can see, the total is 8,272 total units, broken down by those income categories. And those income categories go from very low income to above moderate. Above moderate is typically what we consider market rate. But in that middle range, you can see that income range. So we can see what ranges those incomes fall into. So for example, any family of four making anywhere from like $56,000 to approximately $90,000 would be considered low income based off of the area median income. What the housing element's meant to do is address these needs through goals, actions that the city may take to alleviate and address these housing needs. So the housing element certification, in order to be certified, as I mentioned before, it must be reviewed by HCD for statutory compliance. And that statutory compliance allows the city to be eligible for various funding sources, the biggest of which was also discussed earlier in the previous item, CDBG. That's a big one, but it's not the only funding source. Most funding sources require a certified housing element or an adopted housing element, and that really shows the importance of having a certified housing element. Consequences for not having a certified housing element, the biggest one is limit to access to funding. Like I just mentioned, CDBG, infrastructure funding sources. The second is it really opens up the city to various lawsuits, both from private parties, from the state attorney general. In order to come into compliance, the state can require that the city come into immediate compliance, so a mandatory court order compliance. There's monetary penalties, which luckily we're not in that position, but there are some jurisdictions who have been hit with monetary penalties. There's the biggest one in regards to enforcement actions would be suspension of local control, really, over zoning and approval for projects. In certain circumstances, a city that doesn't have a certified housing element could lose that control, and a project may go directly to a court, attorney general, but that is rare. And lastly here, I'll reiterate, the loss of local zoning control is one of the biggest things. Hypothetically, there's projects that can come in under what's considered the builder's remedy. That's a mechanism in the Housing Accountability Act that allows projects, very specific projects, hitting a certain threshold of income levels to essentially bypass any zoning or general plan restrictions in the city. Adopting a housing element kind of alleviates all of these potential issues. As Sandra mentioned, in July of 2023, the city adopted their last housing element. That's the last time this one was adopted. That draft was the same draft that was adopted previously in February 2022. And in October of 2023, HCD found that the rezones and the housing element itself were not in compliance with statutes. So from October 2023 through October 2025, there are a series of, for lack of a better word, like negotiations with HCD. We really went back and forth determining what was considered sufficient to HCD. Because in our view and the city's view, we're compliant, but there was a new appellate decision that came right around the time we last submitted in 2023, which changed kind of the strategy a bit. But in October of last year, the housing element was resubmitted. In December of 2025, just a couple months ago, HCD found that both the rezone strategy and the housing element itself were in statutory compliance, but could not be certified until both the housing element and the rezones were adopted. So in January 21 of this year, last month, the Planning Commission considered this action and recommended that the City Council adopt the housing element and the associated rezones. This is a summary of outreach. So throughout 2021 and even into 2022, there's a series of workshops, both in English and Spanish, both in person and virtually. We also had online surveys, in-person surveys that people can provide their feedback. Also throughout every single public hearing, there was option to voice opinions, recommendations, and whatnot. So all of those comments are incorporated into our community engagement appendix. Spanish translation was provided at every source of outreach, and online advertising was on the city's social media websites. So the city's housing site strategy, this is how we address the units that we discussed earlier, so the 8,000 plus units. The units there were addressed via a projection of ADUs, calculating projects that were already approved or entitled but hadn't been permitted yet, as well as potential rezones. So this item that we're considering tonight. Although all of these rezone sites are considered part of one district, the Housing Opportunity District, within the housing element, we identify various opportunity zones. And on the screen, you'll see there's 7 of these, ranging from Foothill Boulevard down to Randall Avenue. But there are some outliers that kind of are spread out throughout the city as well that didn't neatly fit into one of these categories. That rezone strategy, starts with a minimum density of 20 dwelling units per acre. And in some instances goes up to 50 dwelling units per acre. And I'll go into specifics a little more. This is the first opportunity area you'll see along Foothill Boulevard. You'll also see some in the central area there in the bottom left. You can also kind of see the baseline parcels up in the top right. We have our North Riverside Avenue parcels. So as you'll see, they're all kind of scattered. They're not all perfectly on North Riverside Avenue, but thereabouts, just for the sake of bulking sites together. We have the Gateway specific plan. We identified this as opportunity sites because it is already a specific plan that's approved in the city. These are within the central area, not too far from here. You'll see scattered about. Some of these are vacant, some are not. The intent of these is that contiguous parcels can either be developed as individual parcels or can be consolidated, although not required. These are the opportunity parcels within the baseline road area. And then these are arrests that are kind of just scattered throughout. I know it's a little hard to see, but these didn't fit, perfectly into any of the other categories. So the proposed rezones are being termed the Housing Opportunity District. So these parcels would all be considered as part of that district, the HOD district. And the minimum density for all parcels would be 20 dwelling units per acre, where there is the underlying zone already allows residential. There would be a range of 35 to 40 dwelling units per acre. In areas where there's an underlying commercial zone, they would be able to go up to 50 dwelling units per acre. So properties that either have commercial or mixed use underlying zone, they can go up to 50 dwelling units per acre, and they must provide at least 50% of the total floor area as residential. So any mixed-use development will have at least 50% residential on those properties. There is an incentive to deliver more affordable products, and that comes directly from the government code. It's section 65583.2, subdivisions H and I. So what this is, it's an incentive that if a project was to be proposed with at least 20% affordable units, they'd have a non-discretionary review. So essentially what that means is the project would have to follow the city's objective requirements, and that's it. More subjective requirements cannot be required of that project. These are examples of density ranges and kind of the appropriate product type that would fit into those. So for 20 to 35 dwelling units per acre, we have like townhomes, some larger apartments or condos, and then kind of a mix of both of those. On the higher range of that density range, we have 35 to 50, and this is more typically what we would associate with like a mixed use or smaller apartment style. We also have an example there of senior housing that is a bit more dense. These in the development standards, all of these parcels would be subject to the R4 development standards. So there is a cap on height, density, and all of the other appropriate development standards to ensure that we're not going, 10 stories or anything like that. We have a sites buffer that's baked into the housing element. So as you can see, the requirement is 8,272 units, but the units that are planned for are double that, almost double that. The intent of that was to not get into what's considered no net loss. So for example, if there's a large parcel that is estimated in the housing element to provide, say, 800 units, but then it's not developed, or it's developed into a smaller product, that would effectively reduce the amount of units we've planned for. And if you get enough of those, deviations from what's planned, then we get into territory where you may potentially have to go back and add additional sites to ensure that we're not at a negative amount of units that we planned for. Earlier I mentioned the last time the housing element was adopted was in 2023, and we'll see that the buffer was slightly higher, about, what was that, 115, I believe, if I did the math correctly. So we, in effect, reduced the buffer by 115 sites, or units, sorry, and it equals about 1%. I'll go on. So the enforcement action of this housing element is the housing policy plan. So these are the actions, the goals, objectives of the housing element, and these are the actionable steps that the city can take to get to our goal. So this is an example of just one program. So this is Housing Program 2E related to ADU monitoring. So in the housing element, we address our housing need through the projection of, projecting out that there's going to be development of ADUs. This program, what it does, it makes sure that the city monitors ADU development to ensure that we're actually meeting those goals. What the program does is, if we're not meeting those goals, what can we do to address that and meet our goals? But we highlight this to show that this is really what a typical program looks like. So it has an action, a time frame on when the city would complete that action. For this one, it's annual, through the annual progress reporting for the housing element. But it also has a responsible agency, in this case the planning division, as well as a funding source. So for this action, it's just a general process of staff monitoring. So it would be the general fund, but there's some actions that may be CDBG or various other funding sources. On the screen, we have a comprehensive list of not all the policy actions that are addressed, but most of them. So you'll see ADU and JADU development. So in that case, it's just updating the zoning code to be compliant with the latest housing ADU laws. We have objective design standards, streamlining, housing voucher programs addressing fair housing. With that, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Rita Garcia, who led the initial study and mitigated negative declaration for both the housing element and the rezones, and she'll present on this part. Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. My name is Rita Garcia with Kimley Horn, and I served as the project manager for the project's CEQA, or California Environmental Quality Act documentation. As Bryant mentioned, we prepared an initial study, mitigated negative declaration, which reviewed approximately 21 environmental resource areas to determine the proposed project's potential environmental impacts in those areas. Our analysis found the proposed project would result in less than significant impacts to all those resource areas analyzed, except for 6 resource areas, which were biological resources, cultural resources, paleontological greenhouse gas emissions, hazardous materials, and vibration. For all other resource areas, our analysis found that following compliance with the established regulatory framework, which would be federal, state, and local regulations, the project would result in less than significant impacts. The initial study was completed and circulated for a 30-day public review period, which extended from September 26th, September 26th to October 25. During that public review period, we received 6 comment letters. To each of those comment letters, we drafted proposed responses on behalf of the city. After analyzing those responses, it was determined that none of them resulted in new environmental impact or increased the severity of the environmental impacts already analyzed in the initial study. And so with that, the next step is that CEQA requires the City Council to consider the initial study and its findings, as well as the comment letters in our proposed responses to those comment letters before approving the project. And with that, Bryant will conclude.
Thank you. So on December 2nd, 2025, this HCD, the Housing Community Development Department, determined that the housing element and the rezone strategy met the statutory requirements. And to reiterate, that letter that the city received states that the city cannot be certified until both the housing element is readopted and the rezones are adopted. So that's the item that's being considered tonight. And with that, I'll go on to just next steps. So we received the letter December 2025. Plan Commission was in January last month. We are here at the public hearing tonight for this item. Assuming or when this housing element and rezones are adopted, an adopted version, a whole package will be submitted to HCD for final certification review. And HCD will have 60 days, a total of 60 days to review for consistency with what they last approved or found in substantial compliance. Any deviations from that may extend that period, but they have a total of 60 days regardless. And then throughout the rest of the 6-cycle planning period, there'll be ongoing implementation per the timelines that are established in the housing element. And with that, we're open to questions. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, well, it's a public hearing, so we'll open it up for any individuals from the public that have requested to speak on this item. Are there any, Madam Clerk?
Yes, you have 3 to speak on this item.
All right, can you please call their names?
Oh, Jerry, so Pipo? And you have to correct me if I miss your name up.
No problem. Hello. Hello, Honorable Mayor and members of the council, and also city staff. I'm Jared Sopko. My family are the original builders. We're the owners and the operators of the North Rialto Shopping Center on Baseline Road. We're a Stater Brothers anchored grocery center. We're here because we want to support housing in Rialto, but we can't support the housing element and the associated zone changes that are presented for approval. In 2021, we worked with the staff and we supported a housing element with a voluntary housing overlay. However, when we learned that our center would be involuntarily rezoned into the housing overlay district, we became concerned. This is because the rezone as it's written will make our existing commercial uses non-conforming. And it's likely that when tenants close, spaces become vacant. And they remain vacant if the tenants can't be quickly replaced. For several reasons, we can't just instead build housing. This could cause a compounding wave of closures and extinguish our thriving grocery-anchored center. Grocery centers are different. They're a unique community resource. They provide affordable grocery options. They combat food deserts. They can't easily be replaced by online shopping. These grocery centers deserve the support and preservation. Because the city's proposed nearly 2 times the required number of housing sites, the inclusion of grocery centers like ours should be reconsidered. Our full concerns are outlined in our letter to the Planning Commission and our letter to this City Council meeting. We're grateful to the city planning staff, particularly Senior Planner Robles and Director Taylor, who have been working with us to understand and address our concerns, and to the council members who have been willing to hear and consider our request. We look forward to working with staff to craft a policy that will support the city's commercial centers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Yes, Anna Gonzalez.
All right. Good evening, esteemed Mayor Baca and members of the Rialto City Council, staff, and fellow residents. My name is Ana Gonzalez, a Rialto resident and Executive Director of the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice. I stand before you to advocate for the approval of the Rialto 6th Cycle Housing Element. This is not just a procedural step, it is a vital commitment to our community's future. I want to take this opportunity to emphasize that collaborative effort that has gone into this process and to highlight the resilience of our residents in addressing one of the most pressing issues we face today, affordable housing. Over the past months and years, we have engaged in meaningful discussions with countless members of our community and staff. Their voices have shaped the housing element, underscoring the critical need for affordable housing options in the city of Rialto. It is clear that our residents are not only aware of the housing challenges, but are also eager to participate in finding solutions. I want to acknowledge and thank everyone who has contributed their time, energy, and ideas in this collaborative process. Your input is invaluable and has ensured that this plan reflects the needs and aspirations of our community. The plan is not perfect, but it is a necessary step to move forward. The resilience of our residents is commendable. Despite the challenges we face, they continue to advocate for the right to affordable housing, and it is our responsibility as their representatives to respond to that call. As we move forward, there are some important items that we still need to address. First and foremost, the inclusionary housing ordinance must be a priority moving forward. This ordinance will ensure that a percentage of new developments are set aside for affordable housing, thus making strides toward a more equitable community. We would like to have a clear timeline of when this will be completed. Additionally, we must commit to meaningful outreach to our local businesses that may have been impacted by these changes. It is crucial that we engage with them, listen to their concerns, and involve them in the conversation so that we can foster a supportive environment for all stakeholders. Moreover, we need to actively recruit developers who are willing to build and expand affordable housing in our community. This is not just about meeting quotas, it's about creating a diverse housing landscape that benefits all residents of Rialto. I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to the city staff and council members for their leadership and dedication to this important cause. Your commitment to moving in the right direction is palpable, and I urge you to continue this collaboration effort with the hundreds of Rialto residents we represent. As a single mom who has faced homelessness with my 2 children after a domestic violence situation, and because of the lack of affordable housing inventory in the city, I cannot tell you how much this progress means to me and the other families facing similar situations. Together, we can create a future where all Rialto residents have access to safe, affordable housing. Let us work hand in hand to ensure that every voice is heard. Thank you for your time and commitment to the residents of Rialto, and we approve this housing element. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members?
Yes, and I don't know if I can pronounce his name the way they spell it. Anup? A-N-U-P?
Yeah. Good evening, guys. Honorable Mayor. I am the owner of the America's Best Value Inn on Foothill Boulevard, on 425 West Foothill Boulevard. And we have a small shopping center also. We own this place since 1999. And at that time, the area was really rough and everything, and we support the city and the police to clean up the stuff. And especially, and we also take the part of county vouchers, so sometimes the homeless, and they pay really less, so we still support them also. So in order to be honest with you, man, it's going to be really hard to give away our property, you know. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others?
No.
Is there any member from the audience that would like to come and address this that is not filled out a form? Hearing not, do we hear a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Councilmember Carla Perez, seconded by Edward Montoya. All those in favor of closing the public hearing signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. Now we'll open it up for discussion from members of the council. Mayor Pro Tem Ed Scott.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I just have some comments. First off, in relationship to the outreach that occurred, I'm extremely disappointed in this city for their lack of outreach to the property owners and business owners in this community. And it's very clear there was little or no outreach. Additionally, letters were sent out once this program was put into place. I appreciate that, but that was a little too late. I'm also extremely disappointed in how we picked some of these properties. I'm just going to give you a couple of specifics. There's one specific of a piece of property that is owned by a hospital. It's just as important in this community, and it's been owned by this hospital for a number of years. It's just as important in this community to have an urgent care center or a surgery center as it is to have mixed-use housing. This property now will be mixed-use housing or housing, one of the two. There's another piece of property where 2 earthquake faults run through it. And a developer's already tried to build housing on it and was told that there were earthquake faults and they couldn't build housing on it, yet now it appears on here. So I don't think staff has done a good job in vetting these properties and deciding what is good and what is not good. As to affordable housing, there is no community in this state that can show that this so-called program has worked, because we don't have affordable housing in the state of California. Do we need it? Absolutely. Do our residents want it? Absolutely. But it's not going to happen because of this. There are 3 important things to me in regards to my love for this country. One is the First Amendment right. Secondly is the Second Amendment right. And lastly is the right to private property ownership. And when a state and a government dictates what you can and cannot build on property, that's not private property ownership any longer. Outside groups come in here and sue us, force us to do things. The state of California comes in here, tells us how we have to vote. They've not only done it on the housing, they did it on trash. It's just going to continue and continue and continue. At some point, we the people have got to stand up and speak our minds. I just am really disturbed that we would go through this city and take property and tell property owners, this is what you have to build on it, you have no choice. And if you don't do it within a certain time limit, this is what you have to do with it. That is not fair, it's not right, and it's not American. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much for your comment. Could you please, any other comments by members of the council? Councilmember Edward Montoya.
Yes, sir, thank you. I agree with everything that Mayor Pro Tem Ed Scott said. I agree with what both gentlemen that stood up said. I agree with all these emails that we got that disagree with this have said. I think it's shameful that this city has to be sued into compliance. I think by suing this city, you put us in a bad position to where businesses that have been here for 30 years plus are being forced. And like Mayor Pro Tem said, you're being told what you're going to do. That's not what this country is about. I'm retired Army. I took an oath to this Constitution, and this is not the way it is supposed to go. Now we're being forced into submitting a vote tonight, and if we do not, we are going to have to pay a lot of money. And that's not the city's money. I mean, ultimately it is, but that's your money. That's your neighbor's money. It's your parents' money. That's sad. That is really, really sad. And I just want everybody to know that we are being forced into this vote. We don't want to. I think I can fairly say that the majority of us do not want to, but I just want you guys to know that. And at this point, it is about quotas. We are having to meet a quota. You've seen the numbers. But with that, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Carla Perez.
Thank you, Mayor. So, to go with what Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Montoya mentioned, I just wanted either our city attorney or someone else to elaborate. Some of the consequences that were mentioned here was lawsuits and suspension of certain local and land use zoning authority. So basically, the city would lose its local zoning control if we do not move forward with this tonight. So if we can get a little more information, as much as can be shared.
I would be happy to do that. The city does face some potentially very problematic issues if it doesn't pass its housing element. I think I've heard people acknowledge that it's not perfect, but the state really is requiring us to adopt this element. If we don't do that, there are some things that the state can further impose on us. First, as you saw on the slide, the state can impose fines. The minimum fine is $10,000 a month. The maximum fine is $100,000 a month for not having a compliant housing element. Housing and Community Development has contacted the city and is monitoring whether or not we're going to adopt this tonight. The state can, through the Attorney General's office, file a suit against the city that would appoint a receiver. That receiver would control all land use decisions within the city until such time as the city adopted a conforming housing element certified by the state. The city would also, during that period of time, potentially lose the ability to issue any permits, commercial, residential, industrial, or otherwise, within the city without having the approval of its receiver. Receivers essentially would be something appointed through a legal action by the state, probably a judge or some other legal officer, to make your land use decisions for you until such time as we had a housing element certified by the state. In addition, should we not adopt this tonight, the prior entity, CCEJ, that did sue the city with regard to its housing element could reactivate its lawsuit because we would be in breach of that settlement agreement with them. That's the short list of the bad things that could happen to us.
Thank you for that. So potentially, our taxpayers would suffer the consequences to the government and to organizations like CCAEJ. And again, it's also not fair to our business owners to be told what to do. So we're put in a very tough spot tonight.
Thank you. Then I'll make my comments. First of all, I think all of us realize that our backs are against the wall at this point. We have no decision other than to make the right kind of decision, and that's to move forward with the affordable housing. It's too bad that during the period of time that the legislation was coming up with these mandates, that they didn't listen to the local government when they came up with these recommendations. Now we're faced with having to implement what the state is asking us to do. And we have no choice because we want to move the city of Rialto forward. In order to move it forward in terms of the future, we have to comply with some of these laws that are in place right now. A lot of us don't like the fact is that there wasn't the outreach that should have been done many years ago. Part of the problem that we've had in the past is that we really have not had stability, which has presented a problem here in the city of Rialto. We've not, I think we've gone to so many city managers. We've gone to different changes in the various departments, and that may have caused some of the notices that should have gone out during that period of time to notify the property owners so they can give their input. But that probably wouldn't have stopped anything because of the state law that comes into place that we have no choice. I understand that we're in an earthquake line in the area and some of these properties are now looking at, but I think the bottom line is that while we agree with a lot of the comments that have been said about business owners' property not having the say-so and should have had the say-so and should have, gotten some kind of notices in advance of what was going to come before us. But at this point, we look at the possibility of being fined $100,000 in monetary penalties that could come against the city. And that's money that can go back to improving the city and making it a lot better if we don't comply. So we have to look at how we're going to use those dollars too as well if we don't comply with the affordable housing requirements that are before us. So it's not just an easy decision amongst us, but we have to look at our future and where we want to be in the future based on the revenue that we have and the responsibilities. And do we want to use those revenues to pay $100 and some thousand in penalties continuously? We don't know how often they would turn around. How often could they possibly fine us if we are not in compliance? Attorney?
Well, the maximum fine's $100,000 per month until you have a certified.
That is per month.
Per month.
That's a lot of money.
And we've spent years trying to work on our housing element to get it certified. So it's not like you're going to turn around in a month and get it done.
And we sympathize with the business owners that are here right now. And I'm hoping that we will come up with some form of an amendment that can come out and extend the deadline in the future too as well towards that ordinance. I think, we've discussed a little bit of that, so that would be some form of a relief in one sense to the property owners as well. I don't know if we can discuss that or not at this point.
Not at this point.
Okay. So, but, we're looking at trying to find a solution also to deal with the property owners too as well, yet at the same time looking at complying with the law, and then also having affordable housing for a lot of our residents in the area that is desperately in need. I constantly, go to different places and people tell me I can't afford to rent. I can't afford to buy a home. So we have a responsibility there. With that, I'd like to see if there's a motion.
Excuse me before you do the motion. I need to let the record reflect that we did receive 2 letters from 2 business owners on Foothill, and they was in disapproval of the housing elements. I just want to record that for the record.
Right, from Nero and Patricia. Well, I guess they're the same persons.
No, it's two different
different ones?
addresses. You
Okay.
have an address, but they both on Foothill. You have an address at 1361 West Foothill, and you also have the address at
For the record, noted that we received 2 letters of concerns with
I guess
with
it's the
this.
same address, but different
Okay.
can numbers, but the record need to reflect that I did indicate that we had them.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Sure.
Okay, with that, do I hear a motion? If not, I'd like to make a motion that we move forward because we have no choice in reference to the affordable housing.
Second.
Second it. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by
Roll
saying
call.
aye. Roll call.
Okay, I'll do a roll call, but Mayor, since you made the motion, you want to read the resolutions and the ordinance for me?
The resolution number 8473, and then the environmental review of 250020, resolution 8474 approving the general plan, and number 25001, and the zoning code of 25002. Oh, and I skipped one, ordinance 1709, and then ordinance 1710, and then 25001, I think I may have mentioned that, and then ordinance numbers 1711 and number 25002. I believe those are it. Did I get them all? Okay. Okay, thank you. With that, then we'll...
Well, but I need to make clear for the record, let me just go back for the record. For your ordinance 1709, approving the zoning code amendment number 250-002, and requested the amending chapter 18.116 residential overlay of the of the Rialto Municipal Code to establish a new resident overlay housing opportunity district and to modify permits, land use, and residential density to facilitate the development of the housing. That's ordinance 1709, ordinance 1710, approving the Pacific Plan Amendment 250001, requesting to amend the Foothills Central Pacific Plan and establish a residential overlay housing opportunity district in approximately 159 acres of land within the Foothills Central Pacific Plan to facilitate the development of housing by reference to Chapter 18.116 residential overlay of the Rialto Municipal Code, and the ordinance 1711 approving Pacific Plan Amendment number 25-0002, requesting to amend the Gateway Pacific Plan and establish a resident overlay housing opportunity district in approximately 20 acres of land within the Gateway Pacific Plan to facilitate the development of housing by reference to the Chapter 18.116 residential overlay of the municipal code.
That's correct.
Okay, that's the ordinance I read, and so, okay. And roll call, Mayor Baca.
Aye.
Councilmember Montoya.
Aye.
Councilmember Perez.
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott.
No.
Mayor and council, you've had a 2-2 vote under your resolution 6773. A tie vote is a failed vote.
Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion that we carry this item over for 2 weeks.
Okay, a motion's been made that we carry the item over for 2 weeks. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second's been made. Motion's been made by Mayor Pro Tem Ed Scott, seconded by Councilwoman Carla Perez.
And if I may add a comment, I was here in 2021 when this initially was discussed, and I know that we are in need of affordable housing for our residents. But back then, we discussed the importance of location, not only for the residents, but for the businesses. It has to make sense. And for a lot of these areas not to make sense in all aspects, just as, you know, this was 2021, we're now in 2026. this, again, it is important. It is important that we have this available, but it has to make sense. And that just, does not sit well with me. Thank you, Mayor.
So I just want to be clear, so this is coming back for the council meeting in March?
At
The
next
first-
March
the first meeting in March?
First meeting in March.
Would we need to continue the public hearing?
You don't need to, but if there are going to be any changes recommended to any of the documents, then you should continue the public hearing open, so we don't have to
Okay, I would
renotice
make
it.
a motion to reopen the public hearing.
Okay,
Second.
Motion's been made by Mayor Pro Tem to open the public hearing and
To
seconded by Carla
reopen the
Perez.
public
To
hearing.
reopen it.
Yes. Thank you.
And
So,
seconded
Then motion to continue the public hearing for 2 weeks and bring this item back.
at the first meeting in March.
yes, which
Is this going to put us in breach?
I would rather not answer that question from the dais, council member.
Understood.
There is a significant risk that it will, as much as I can say.
Well, that may be, sir, but there's a lot of stuff we haven't been told in this thing, clearly, that was hidden and covered up and kept from this council. And I think we have a right and a responsibility to this community to specifically know what we're voting on and specifically agree with what we're voting on. And I just see too many issues that have been brought up in both the staff report and this that don't match this presentation tonight.
I completely understand and don't disagree.
And if the state doesn't understand it, then they can do what they want.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor, I signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. So it'll be brought back in 2 weeks or at the next city council meeting. Thank you. We'll move on to tab 4.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. Yaz Zamrani, your Public Works Director, here for tab 4 item. In May 2023, the city successfully completed the 1.5-mile Cactus Trail improvements, creating a Class 1 trail along Cactus Avenue between Rialto Avenue and Baseline Road. The project transformed the dirt path into a safe, accessible, paved corridor for pedestrians and bicyclists. This item before you builds on that, and through this agreement, the city will install pedestrian-oriented solar lighting along the trail to enhance safety and extend.
Motion's been made by Carla Perez, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. No, I think I heard Edward say it first.
I think he said it. It's fine.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Ed Scott. Any discussion? I'd just like to restate again, I want to thank, Kathy and Terry Thompson, for making the recommendation that we have lighting there. And I think it's important for the safety of our residents in the area that will be using the trail. It's healthy, it's good, and it would allow more of the residents to participate in that walking trail. And both Kathy and Terry, I think, was it about 2 years ago or a year and a half ago that, about a year and a half ago that they came and said, look, we need to make sure that the trail is safe for a lot of our residents that like to walk, and a lot of them, like to walk in the evenings. And when it was getting dark, especially at 5, there was no lighting. And for the safety of our residents, I think it's good that we're now taking the immediate action, and thanks to the supervisor, Joe Baca Jr., with his generous donation, that will be putting on the lights, and for us just to maintain the lights during the time that they're in existence there on the Cactus Trail. So again, thank you. And with that, all those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposition? Hearing none, thank you. Item number 5.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. The item before you this evening is a request to appropriate approximately $250,000 for repairs to a city-owned property located at 119 North Riverside Avenue. This property is known as the Kukas Building. The city has owned this property since 1992. Formerly owned by the redevelopment agency and subsequently transferred over to the city to be the owner. Kuka's Restaurant leased the building from the city from 2000 to December of 2023. The building has been vacant since December of 2023. The building currently is in need of repairs to the roof, HVAC, electrical and plumbing systems. There are also some ADA issues in the building. However, the funds requested at this time are specifically to address the roof and HVAC while staff prepares a request for proposal to go out and seek a potential operator for that facility, something that would likely be compatible with the Pacific Electric Trail expansion that is currently underway. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions, but again, the request before you tonight is to appropriate $250,000 to make repairs at a city-owned facility. Thank you.
Council, before you start with your comments, we have a speaker who would like to speak. And if you'd like for me to call her up, I will call her.
Would you call the?
Yes, Ana Gonzalez.
Hi, Council. Good evening again. I just want to commend the leadership of the council and the staff for moving forward with these repairs and renovations that are very much needed in our community, and just open it up to having conversations of more eateries coming into that space. I know when we lost Kukas, it was a very devastating loss to our community, and especially staff who always ate there during their lunchtime. So I commend this opportunity and proposal that's being brought to you all today, and I recommend a yes vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Do you hear a motion then if there's no?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Mayor Pro Tem Ed Scott, seconded by Carla Perez. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to tab 6.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. The city successfully secured $3.9 million in active transportation program Cycle 7 funding through California Department of Transportation to support construction of these important projects. This additional $1 million TDA Article 3 will strengthen our funding strategy while positioning the project competitively at the regional level. The project will deliver critical safety and accessibility improvements near 7 schools, as listed in your report. And these enhancements are designed to close infrastructure gaps between residential neighborhoods and school campuses. Planning is scheduled for the current fiscal year, the design in fiscal year 26-27, and construction programmed in fiscal year 2028. And this grant...
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion's been made by Council Member Carla Perez, seconded by Edward Montoya. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Move on to tab 7.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council. Sachin Chawla, Director of Utilities. I'm here today to request City Council and Rialto Utility Authority to adopt resolution number 8478 and RUA resolution number 2604, amending the 25-26 wastewater fiscal year budget for an amount of $120,000.
Move approval.
Motion's been made by Mayor Pro Tem Ed Scott, seconded by Carla Perez. Any discussion? I'd just like to say that they have brought over $8.2 million in grant funding for projects.
18.
Yeah, 18.2. That's great. Thank you.
Very good.
With that, Hearing no other discussion or comments, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. Now move on to one of our favorite topics. Oh, I thought the robot was up at the front.
That was me, sir. So,
Tab 8.
sir, I know it's been a pretty tough night for council, but I always try to bring in some new technology for the community. And I think that I really appreciate, number one, the Ontario Police Department for helping us. We are going to be one of, you, of course, if you approve this tonight, we'll be one of only 2 departments in the entire area here, this region, that actually has a robot dog. And I want to talk to council quickly about this. This is an amazing tool for law enforcement.
Watch it, it's going to bite you, Ed. That's fantastic.
So, Mayor and Council, what I'm asking you to approve tonight is the purchase of this Spot robot, including hardware, on-site training, software, warranty from FlyMotion LLC, and it's for the amount not to exceed $380,255.82. Authorize the city manager or their designee to execute all the related documents.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Carla Perez.
But I want you to finish your presentation.
Okay. No, I really appreciate it. I think what I want council to know and also the community to know is, Rialto PD is certainly trying not only to emulate other departments, but also set the standard. And this tool is truly going to be used for community events, number one. Primarily, we've had some concerns in the past with our canines, but frankly, this is the future. I think what council needs to understand, the community needs to understand, that in the event there needs to be a tactical situation, this robot can be deployed. It goes upstairs, it can open doors, it can actually do quite a number of things that most people may not understand. I will tell you that if there's a barricaded suspect, and I know Ontario Police Department's had at least 2 of these situations where they deployed the robot dog inside the house and people have just given up. It's a very non-lethal approach to solving a lot of situations. And again, I'll always emphasize that we'll eventually roll this out at our groundbreaking, but it's going to be one of our big tools for National Night Out here in August. We'll again follow Ontario's lead on this. So we're going to open this up to the community to name our dog. I think that that's going to be an exciting time for us to be able to get some kids in local schools. What's that, sir?
That's the question I was going to ask you. What are you going to name the spot?
Yeah, so we're going to open this up to the community and some schools and try to get some input. And I think just kind of get a little bit more community involvement on this. But, it's the future. And I'm really happy that Ontario has shared this with us. I saw this at a chief's meeting a few months ago. I sat in a chair and I told the chief there, we're going to get one of these in the city of Rialto. So that's it. I don't know what else you want to show that it can do, but it'll probably grab that in a second, except...
No,
okay, so Captain Adams wants the dog to go all the way through the table.
Yeah.
While the dog's figuring out what to do, I also want you to know that if you push this dog, it won't tip over. And if it does happen to get tipped over, it can actually right itself. And then, again, I won't get into a lot of the deployment features with it, but it will be able to deploy a number of tools for us depending on the type of situations that we're going to be getting ourselves into. It also does play fetch.
Thank you very much. And I think, the statement that's on here too as well, that it provides effective and comprehensive policing service that meets the safety needs of Rialto. And I think that's really the key right here, is the safety needs of Rialto, but also of our men and women who serve as well. Because now, I mean, some of us that attended the ceremony were able to look at the situations that many of our law enforcement are encountered with, and having this robot might save the life of either the law enforcement officer that's providing that safety, or it could provide additional safety for another individual that may get scared of the dog in a spot. But with that, since seeing that there's no other discussion, although Edward Montoya, Councilmember Edward Montoya.
Just really quick, you had mentioned, and I just want to clarify, that this is a non-lethal piece of equipment. So there's no weaponry. I just want the people to hear it.
It can be equipped, but our goal right now is to keep it less lethal. But we'll be actually to deploy in those tactical situations a lot of tools for us to keep it in that lane.
Got it, understood. So my last couple of deployments, we used dogs and various types of robots like this, and they were wonderful. It kept us out of harm's way while we controlled it, from a quarter-mile away, and I really like what they can do, so I'm excited.
We are too. Thank you so much for your support.
Hey, Chief, will that fit in a smart car?
Sir, I'm pretty sure that this would probably control your smart car.
I wished I had my smart car still. I'd donate it to you for that dog to drive around in.
We're really excited, and we, Council, this goes back to 2018 when we actually put a plan together that Rialto PD was going to be that agency. So we've worked with our partners, Ontario being one of them, and I think that with your guidance, your vision, and your support, this is a much-changed police department. It's got tools for the future, and it's all geared around keeping our residents and businesses safe. So again, thank you for all your support that you give us. We much appreciate it, and thank you for approving it tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you to Ontario PD. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion's been made, it's been seconded, discussions were held. At this point, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That concludes the items on the agenda. We'll move into council's report. I'll start with Edward Montoya. Councilmember Edward
Nothing to
Montoya.
report, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next, I'll start with Carla Perez.
Thank you, Mayor. So as mentioned earlier, Friday, we were invited to attend our police department's award ceremony. And, every day I'm extremely proud of our department. But during those ceremonies, it gives us a better look on what they do day in and day out. And, the recognition that is given to them, I feel that on a daily basis, they're out there protecting our community and doing everything they can to get the job done. But, it's a great event where they highlight a lot of what they do. And I know that there's so much more that is done, and it must be my motherly instincts, but I feel so proud. I feel, anytime I'm there and I see it, it just fills me with so much joy and pride. And it's funny because even on social media, when I see like little negative comments, it does bother me because sometimes I feel like they don't have the opportunity to see what we see. There was one that kind of made me laugh. They said, I'm tired of seeing so many Rialto police officers out in the street. And I said, well, that's the goal. So they must be doing their job right. So thank you for all you do. All the staff, whether they're administrative, on every level. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Next, Mayor Pro Tem Ed Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would echo Councilmember Perez's comments, but I'd also like to add that one of the most impressive thing were the videos of the life-saving life savings that happened and that Rialto Police participated in and actually allowed people and helped people to keep their lives. So I was very impressed with that. Captain Corker, I think you did a remarkable job. Maybe next year we could work on your jokes. No, they were good jokes, but you did a remarkable job up there, so thanks for your assistance and help. And I want to thank the men and women of the Rialto Police Department for all their hard work and everything they do. They have a thankless job a lot of times, and we do notice you out there, we see you out there, and we appreciate what is going on. And I also want to tell the community something. You folks need to slow down, and you need to start stopping at stop signs and stoplights, because you're taking and risking people's lives. And our police department is going to get more aggressive, I believe, when it comes to running red lights and speeding through neighborhoods. So please slow down. It could be the life of one of your family members that gets lost because somebody runs a red light. So please think before you run a red light. Thank you.
That concludes Mayor Pro Tem's report. I'd like to report at this time. As mayor, I attended the Senior Sweetheart Dance that was held at Grace Vargas Senior Center. It was well attended by many of the seniors that enjoyed the dancing that went on. I did take a little step on the side, but I didn't go onto the floor at the dance. But I want to commend the Senior Center for doing an outstanding job and bringing out members from the community to enjoy themselves during a period of times that we look at the Sweetheart Valentine's dance that was held there. Also attended the Knights of Columbus Valentine's at St. Catherine's Church. That was a dinner dance. And I did dance at that one because I took my wife to that one. So I did a lot of the dancing. I think I may have lost maybe a pound or two, dancing, but I enjoyed it very much and want to thank them. Also, I attended the West End Mayor's Roundtable that was held in the West End in Ontario, along with our Assistant City Manager, Tim Sullivan, that attended it as well. And last but not least, on behalf of the council that attended, I'd like to mention their names because they all attended. And when anybody takes time to go to an event in honor of the Rialto Police Employees Performance Award Banquet, members from our council were present. And I'd like to mention, and I'll start with he's already gave a little report on it, but I'd like to mention Mayor Pro Tem Ed Scott that was in attendance. Andy Caraceres that had to leave, was in attendance. Councilwoman Carla Perez that was in attendance, and then also Edward Montoya that was in attendance. And on behalf of the City Council, we'd really like to thank the Police Department and all of the individuals that were involved and those that were recognized for the awards they received on that night that were duly respected and awarded for the service they provide in keeping our city safe. And I think, as Mayor Pro Tem Ed Scott mentioned, the videos that we actually were able to witness and see. And I think when the public sees these individuals that are putting themselves on the line, sometimes we don't realize the danger that they're going to. Whether it's an individual that they try to, they did in one of the videos where an individual was shooting his gun and they were able to, or rifle, they were able to convince him to drop the rifle and not harm anyone else, but they could have also been harmed during that time. We needed the spot dog to have been there at that time. I think the spot dog may have been able to go over there without having to have one of our law enforcement put in danger. The other incident we happened to see in that video, and we really appreciate part of our law enforcement that was able to talk a young lady that wanted to commit suicide, and she had a gun. She had a gun to her throat underneath, and she, thanks to the police officer that was able to convince her to drop the weapon and kick it away, and, you know, saved her life. And basically now she might be able to be changed and go in a different kind of direction with the assistance. And then also there was another one that was very touching to me, is when I saw a baby, and that goes for everybody, and when Mayor Pro Tem was talking about speeding, it also pertains to individuals that have swimming pools. There was a child that was 1 year and 7 months or something like this that happened to fall into the pool. And thanks to the quick reaction by our law enforcement, was able to save the life of that child. And that child now will live, you know, and hopefully one day he'll remember that it was someone from the police department that saved, was it a he or a she? She? Yeah, it was a she. That she'll remember the rest of her life that someone took the time to react immediately, pull her out of the pool, and give her RSP, what is it? CPR, to make sure that she got the CPR. And then there was another lady that happened to, that, you know, and I want to say this because the public should hear that what our law enforcements go through on a daily basis, not just going after people that have speeding tickets, but also in conjunction with the fire department. We're able to look at not just the child itself, but another individual that happened to, I believe, have a stroke in the vehicle and had other kids in back of that vehicle, and we're able to provide assistance to them. So thanks to the police department and the fire department in reacting and saving the lives of those individuals. And these are a few of many other incidents probably that are unheard of and we don't see. And we sometimes label our law enforcement in a negative way when we should actually be thanking them for the service that they're willing to serve. You know, and I say our country, but I say our city. And they're putting themselves on the line every day that they step in because they don't know what the reaction of an individual is going to be out there in the community. So I want to personally thank you, and on behalf of the rest of the council, thank all of you. And that concludes my report. So at this time, we'll move on to reports from other individuals. I'll start with City Clerk Barbara McGee.
Oh, thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Mayor Pro Tem, I have nothing to report this evening. Of course.
Okay.
We open every Wednesday.
Next, I'd like to move on to our city treasurer, Edward Carrillo.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing to report.
Next, I'd like to move on to our city manager, Tanya Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. No report this evening.
Thank you. That's because she said I spoke too long. Not kidding. Well, next I'd like to call on our Assistant City Manager, Tim Sullivan.
I can't top that report, so no reports for me tonight.
Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to call on Eric Vale, our City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. No report this evening.
Next, I'd like to call on our Police Chief, Mark Klein. Oh, and by the way, at the reception, smile. Yeah, there you go.
You know, I would love to tell you I have no reports, but that's not true. So, first of all, I do want to thank council for not only your support, but your attendance last Friday night. It's very important for the employees not only to be recognized, but also see the city leaders there. And that goes along with the department heads. I mentioned that at the night that, you know, I've got a fairly easy job when everything comes together, but it doesn't happen without your input, your support, and of course my colleagues here at the city. So thank you all. And Chief, I'm grateful that you were able to dig out, but I also want just the community to understand that, yeah, you know, law enforcement gets there quite a bit sooner than the fire department, you know, on occasion. But all we are is just that initial response. And if it wasn't for the fire department, the paramedics, I think the work that we accomplished together, there would be more lives lost in this city. So, you know, we get there, we start it, but all we do is just pass it off to the paramedics and the Rialto Fire Department, and they're fantastic partners. And I want to thank Chief Jensen and of course all the staff for what they really mean to us and what we collectively mean to this city and its residents. So, also speaking of that, I want council to know that it's all about preparedness. And it's all about getting our training together, both the fire department and the police department. So Friday and Saturday, you're going to see or hear about some extensive training up at Sunrise Church. It's a active shooter training for our paramedics, our firefighters, our police officers, command staff. It'll happen over 2 days with all of our teams collectively in our department along with the fire department. So we'll put it out on social media. We'll also actually have a lot of signs up there letting residents know. We've already made canvassing. We hear you, council, you know, make sure the residents know. So we've done some canvassing in the area, letting folks know that it's just a training exercise. There won't be any live rounds or anything that's going to be up there, but it's going to give us a good opportunity and test our folks, both on the fire side and the police side, to be ready and respond accordingly. So when you hear residents' concerns over the weekend, it's simply training. And I do really appreciate Sunrise opening up their facility for us. That's all my reports.
Thank you very much. Next.
I can attest that they did their due diligence. I received my notice today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call on our Fire Chief, Chris Jensen.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things to report. We had 2 of our new paramedics that just completed their EMS onboarding academy. So they're currently working their 10-shift ride-outs, and then they'll be on the floor performing as paramedics here in the city of Rialto. So we're pretty excited about that. We also completed our Fire Station 203 dorm project. That provides a more environmentally safe and improved crew work-rest cycles. So we appreciate the support from the City Council on that agenda item from previous. The Fire Station 204 generator project has also been completed. That allows us now to continue to provide service delivery without electrical service interruptions at Fire Station 204. And we're continuing to work on Fire Station 201 reconstruction to get the crews back into quarters. The construction documents are now at 100% permit ready, and at the next council meeting, we'll be bringing that item forward. Lastly, I just want to highlight the outstanding professional service the members of the Rialto Fire Department, as well as Rialto Police Department and our dispatch centers provide each day. Their compassion and friendly demeanor never go unnoticed, and their actions consistently bring calm and comfort to the community during some of the most stressful moments in people's lives. So I just want to recognize all of them and let them know that we do appreciate the services that they provide here in the city of Rialto. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call on our Public Works Director, Yas Amrami.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have one announcement in terms of our household hazardous waste collection program, which we operate in partnership with our fire department, with San Bernardino County Fire, actually. The facility is located behind 246 South Willow Avenue and will be open for hazardous waste drop-off on this Friday, February 27th, and Saturday, February 28th, between the hours of 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And we have this program twice a month on the second and fourth Friday and Saturday of each month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to call on our Community Development Director, Christina Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing to report this evening.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call on our Parks Recreation Director, Cynthia Alvarado Crawford.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council. Here's what's going on in Rialto. Feeling the Funk Senior Social will be this Thursday, February 26th at Grace Vargas Senior Center from 2 to 4 p.m. Rialto Girls Softball Association's opening day will be Saturday, February 28th at Frisbee Park starting at 10 a.m. Tiny Tots March session begins on March 2nd at both Hugh Banks Elementary and our community center. Classes are 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Our Rialto Youth Pony League Baseball opening day will be Saturday, March 7th at Bud Bender Park, starting at 9:30 a.m. Youth Basketball Winter Season Championship will be Saturday, March 7th at Carl Johnson Center Gym from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. March swim lesson registration will open up on Saturday, March 7th at the Tom Sawyer Pool, both online and in person. We do have scholarships available for our community to take advantage of, but you do have to go in person to get that scholarship. And then, of course, your save the dates. The CMEX annual Run Around the Rocks will be Saturday, March 7th at the CMEX Lytle Creek Quarry, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Rialto Passport Day will be Saturday, March 21st at the city clerk's office here on Civic Campus from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Spring Extravaganza will be Saturday, April 4th at Frisbee Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Rialto on Wheels will be Saturday, April 25th here at the Rialto Civic Center from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And International Festival will be Friday, May 1st at Rialto City Park from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. And that concludes my announcements.
Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to call on our Finance Director, Scott Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing forward.
Next, I'd like to, well, let's see, she's not here. Our Utilities Director.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing to report today.
Thank you. That concludes the reports from everyone. If not, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Motion's been made by Carla Perez to adjourn, seconded by Edward Montoya. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Council's adjourned.